How far has Ukraine pushed into Russian territory? How did the Nord Stream take a turn for the Nordic Noir? And was a nuclear power plant really on fire this week? This is week 129 of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I'm Anna Belokur, reporting to you from Kyiv, and I'll be taking you through the top 3 stories from Ukraine this week. As Ukraine's surprise incursion into Kursk Oblast stretched into its second week, President Volodymyr Zelensky and other top military officials finally gave public confirmation that the operation was happening, marking the first official invasion of Russia by a foreign power since World War II. Most information about the operation has been coming from Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky via President Zelensky's evening addresses, with reports that Ukraine has taken control of over 80 Russian settlements and advanced 35 kilometers deep into Russia. Ukraine also reported capturing over 100 Russian and Chechen prisoners of war per day on multiple days this week, which could strengthen Ukraine's position in prisoner swap negotiations. A Ukrainian Foreign Ministry spokesperson told reporters on Tuesday that the Kursk operation aims to stretch Russian forces thin and prevent Moscow from sending additional troops to the Donbass, where fighting has been brutal in the last couple months as Russia pushes further and further west. It's also not unlikely that Russian troops will be reallocated from other parts of the front to Kursk. The operation has several psychological dimensions as well as logistical. Predictably, Russians do not like experiencing war on their own territory and have been fleeing Kursk Oblast in large numbers. This panic is spreading. On Thursday, Russia declared a state of emergency in neighboring Belgorod Oblast, which Ukrainian troops have also crossed into. On a more long-term scale, the reallocation of troops also increases the likelihood that Russia will undergo another round of mobilization, a move that certainly won't do any favors for Putin's popularity in a series of events that are already pretty embarrassing for him. The past 2 weeks have shown that Ukraine can take dramatic action, and Russia cannot or will not escalate in retaliation, as so many Western allies have long feared would happen. This should be reassuring for countries that are debating whether or not to let Ukraine use their weapons to strike Russian territory. In the face of decisive Ukrainian action, Russia hasn't made good on any of its threats to escalate the war beyond its current state. There have been a series of bizarre developments in the saga of the Nord Stream pipelines, which were blown up in 2022. Primarily owned by the Russian state company Gazprom, the pipelines were built to supply gas from Russia to Germany via the Baltic Sea. The 2022 explosions, which occurred more than half a year after the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and after the EU had imposed 8 packages of sanctions against Russia, led to accusations of sabotage and terrorism by various countries and organizations. This week, German authorities issued the first arrest warrant in the case for a Ukrainian citizen known as Volodymyr Z. No, not that one. This man is a 44-year-old diving instructor who was last seen in Poland and has since gone into hiding and declined to comment to the press. It's assumed that he's in Ukraine. Several other Ukrainian nationals are wanted in connection with the case, with a total of 6 people suspected of carrying out the operation. The Wall Street Journal posited that the suspects went out sailing disguised as recreational divers and planted the explosives on the pipeline, at the bidding of none other than President Zelensky. On Thursday, one of Zelensky's advisors denied that Kyiv had anything to do with the explosion. Since the explosion happened, many countries have blamed Russia. Russia blames the CIA. Conspiracy theories are rampant, and it's really not clear who stands to gain or lose from the pipeline being blown up. It wasn't even being used to transport gas at the time, so it seems nearly impossible that the move wasn't politically motivated. While all eyes were fixed on Kursk earlier this week, some alarming images appeared from further to the south, showing a lot of dark smoke coming from Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe. The facility is located outside of Russian-occupied Energodar and has been under Russian control since March 2022. Ukrainian officials claimed that Russia was burning old tires in a cooling tower, and further said that the move was likely a tactic to create panic amongst the civilian population. President Zelensky called the fire a provocation and called on the International Atomic Energy Agency to take action. But their investigation on August 12th didn't turn up any definitive answer on what actually started the fire, and in fact contained witness accounts that a drone had struck the tower. On the same day, the IAEA director said that there was no evidence of drone damage and that the fire had been completely contained, clarifying that the towers in question were located 1.5 kilometers from the plant's nuclear reactors, and that there was no increased risk or danger due to this fire. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant has been a source of anxiety throughout the war. Ukraine has repeatedly accused Russia of using the power plant for nuclear blackmail and treating it as a launch site for attacks. Russia has ignored all calls from the UN and other institutions to vacate the plant, which Putin has said he wants to restart while the war is ongoing. As international bodies struggle to impose any kind of safety regulation over the plant, the dangers of having a major nuclear facility trapped in a war zone remain a significant concern. That's all for this week. We'll be back next Sunday with more news from Ukraine. Your support is what makes our work possible. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to become a member of the Kyiv Independent community, please visit the link in the description below. I'll see you next week.